day. This is your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, March 18th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. New Jersey voters could decide on marijuana legalization from thedailychronic.net. A bipartisan bill has been introduced to legalize the possession of marijuana in New Jersey. If passed by the legislature, the law would not take effect in the state unless the voters approve it. Assemblyman Reed Gascoria and Michael Patrick Carroll last week filed Assembly Bill 2842, a ballot initiative that would put marijuana legalization in the hands of New Jersey voters. The bill proposes legalizing possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana as well as marijuana paraphernalia used within the guise of the new laws. In order to get on the ballot, the bill needs to be passed by the state assembly and Senate and signed by Governor Chris Christie. If the bill is passed, New Jersey would be the first state to pass a marijuana legalization measure of any kind through a state legislature. It should be noted that this bill does not address taxation, regulation, or cultivation of marijuana, and current criminal penalties still apply to the possession of over 1 ounce. Medical marijuana bill advances in Maryland from the Washington Post. The Maryland House of Delegates approved legislation Monday intended to make it possible for patients to use medical marijuana, which was legalized last year but remains unavailable in the state. Delegates voted 127-9 to allow certified physicians to discuss the option of medical marijuana with patients and then recommend its use. Those patients or their caregivers could obtain a 30-day supply from a licensed grower. The legislation now heads to the Senate, where approval is expected. New poll, 74% say yes to medical marijuana in Florida from theweedblog.com. All eyes are on Florida, where a medical marijuana initiative has made the ballot. Florida is a very significant state in the battle for safe access. If and when Florida voters approve Proposition 2 in November, Florida will become the first southern state to legalize medical marijuana. Florida has a lot of reach beyond its borders, too, as many seniors spend their winters there, many people have family there, and it's also a hot travel destination for many people. A lot of influential people live in Florida, and we're confident that once they see how well medical marijuana works, they will do more to make medical marijuana a reality nationwide. According to a new poll released by the University of North Florida, 74% of registered voters polled responded that they would vote yes for Proposition 2, allowing the medical use of marijuana for individuals with debilitating diseases as determined by a licensed Florida physician. The official question that was asked in the poll was, Proposition 2 is on the state ballot. 74% said yes, only 22% said no, and 4% were undecided. Compare those numbers to the response given when the same people were asked if they support full legalization. 57% said they would oppose such reform, while only 41% said they would support legalization. Florida may not be ready to legalize recreational marijuana, but Florida is certainly ready for medical marijuana. A challenge to barring medical marijuana licensees from buying guns loses in federal court. From Reason.com. Long-awaited and alas bad news from the case of Wilson v. Holder from way back in December of 2011. Rowan Wilson, then a Nevada-based medical technician in residential care homes, was not able to buy a gun from a licensed dealer who was personally acquainted with her and knew she had a state medical marijuana patient card. This is because the dealer knew of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives rules that stated, quote, if you are aware that a potential transferee is in possession of a card authorizing the possession and use of marijuana under state law, then you may not transfer firearms or ammunition to the person, end quote. Such a person, the feds insist, would run afoul of Section 922G of the Federal Criminal Code from the 1968 Federal Gun Control Act, which says that anyone, quote, who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any substance, end quote, is basically barred from possessing or receiving guns and ammo. Wilson thought that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives policy violated her Second Amendment rights and sued. An opinion in the case was issued yesterday by the U.S. District Judge, and it wasn't good. It upheld a motion to dismiss the case entirely by the federal government defendants. Cannabis legalization in the UK is called for as Amsterdam-style cafe plan is proposed. The Battle for Britain's first cannabis cafe was launched again this week, and campaigners have stepped up their call for legalization of the Class B drug. Ian Driver, a Green Party councillor for the Thanet District Council, said this week he is looking for possible venues for an Amsterdam-style cafe. This has been your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, March 18th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we'll have video from the Marijuana Business Association vendor fair. I believe it's Marco from Evergreen Herbal discussing plant techniques. We'll have some Daily Toker Tunes with Electric Bob also when we come back. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. Stay tuned.